Why do you want to publicize your church? Because people at this day and age may not necessarily know the difference between churches. How does the Episcopal Church differentiate from, say, a non-denominational Christian church, or how is it related to the Catholic Church? So folks may not quite understand what your church is all about, and folks are very much more hesitant this day and age to just show up on your campus. Event promotion can involve two different types of events when you're talking about a church. There's church-based events, and then there's community-based events. So you really need to think about your audience when you look at promoting each of those. For instance, a church-based event might be a baptism or a youth bake sale or a Shrove Tuesday pancake supper. The events, the attendees at that type of event are most often going to be the congregation. They might invite some friends and family. These are the ones that are easy, free to promote. You know, you do it in your Sunday bulletin, your announcements, your church newsletter, and the folks that are in the pews, you know, they're likely going to attend. On a rare occasion, we just had this happen here in the Diocese of Arizona, if your church is in a small enough community, you might be able to get a small town newspaper reporter to cover a church event. And in this case, it was a installation of a new priest, and that hadn't happened in this small community in quite some time. So that event became a big news story for that small town. But for the most part, you know, in metropolitan areas, the newspaper's not going to be paying attention to those sorts of things. However, then if you go on to the community-based events, say a church carnival, a craft fair, farmer's market, even your Christmas choir concert, where your church campus is being used as a location for that event, and attendees are going to be most likely members of the community who've never been on your campus, that's a real opportunity for you to showcase your church and its campus to the community and show folks who you are. So, for instance, you can easily do event flyers. If you don't have the ability for color, black and white is fine on your church's, you know, photocopier. You can distribute those to the apartment complexes that are next to your church campus. Maybe you have a senior living facility that provides bus service and that would bring them over. Even if you have other churches in your area, for instance, if it's a farmer's market kind of event, you'd want to invite those other churches and build that community. There are other places where you can list your events for free. One would be the local radio stations, community calendars. Both secular and religious stations have those kinds of calendars. They're really fairly simple to use. So you'd have to look on each station's website for their information and how you would go about posting. Most newspapers also have those similar free online event calendars. If it's a large newspaper, you're not going to likely see it in their print edition, but it should show up on, say, a things to do today list that would show up online. Some other free online resources are, of course, your church's website. If you have a Facebook page or other social media outlet or Twitter profile, something along those lines, again, all free and easy to use. So something else you want to think about on an event when you do get those people on your campus is you want to have materials for them to tell them about your church. So again, you can make up a simple black and white flyer. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, or a brochure that tells folks about your church and about your ministries. What you want to do is put somebody knowledgeable in charge of putting those in the hands of the folks attending that event. Because that way, if people have questions, they can immediately answer those questions for them and they make that human connection.